Hey, welcome to the
We'll
first
start a new
ever
one.
episode of the Ball Knowers podcast. My name is Jake, also known as Joller. Here with my two good friends and fellow ball knowers, Justin and Zach. How are you
But
doing tonight?
We're doing good. Watched a lot of football and did nothing else on this fine Sunday.
Justin, how are we doing?
good, man. I did not do that, but we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, so obviously a lot of football to talk about. Let's just kind of run through the games at the morning slate. Do we want to start with Giants Browns or go on to happier days? I'm thinking
Let's
Zach.
start Green Bay,
Zach, talk to us
Tennessee.
about Green Bay. Okay. Yeah, so the Packers won 30-14, thank God. I thought Malik Willis did his job. 58 yards passing with a touchdown, 73 yards rushing. He had three passes of 30 plus yards in the first half, which was huge. He turned the ball over, did his job. 2-0 without Jordan Love, which is a huge victory. It's better than I could have thought. Now 2-1, so I'm a happy camper there. Defense looked great. The Packers actually lead the NFL for 3 weeks in interceptions by defense, which is was not on my bingo card in 2024, but it's a good start. Other than some minor defensive penalties early on, which has kind of been a theme the first couple of weeks, overall they played really well. They had 8 sacks today, which is pretty ridiculous.
Damn.
3 takeaways and 1 pick-6 by Jair. So that was great to see. Yeah, overall it was a solid defensive game. Offense did its job. Way 2-1. Couldn't be happier. So,
Titans, Will Levis, not good.
yeah, I don't know.
He can look really good sometimes, and then
Other times
he
he's a
makes a
meme.
stupid ass play.
Yeah, rookie. Um, Anything else on that game?
Nothing that I saw. I mean, Tennessee, like they're not supposed to be good. I mean, it's Will Levis, pseudo rookie quarterback, and then DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Boyd, I guess, kind of a makeshift offense. They do have Pollard, right? They took him from Dallas.
They do.
They did, yeah.
So, I mean, when you're down 16, you're not really going to run the ball that much, anyways.
No.
But Hopkins did get in the end zone, so I mean that's good to kind of see.
Yeah, he had kind of a grown man touchdown.
Yeah, He like
Caught
got tackled at
it.
like the 4 or
Yeah, kind of
something, or
weaseled
got
his
hit at the
way in
4.
there.
Yeah, it was
Kind of
nice.
grown man his way in. So, yeah, I kind of forgot he existed up until that moment, but it was good. It was good to see that kind of from a bipartisan standpoint. Titans aren't very good. I mean, still could be 2-1. That's pretty much all I have on that. Talk to us about the Colts game. Colts Bears.
Colts Bears. I mean, Colts ended up geeking out the win, 21-16. The game was bad. It was 3-0 at halftime. It was both teams. They combined for I think less than 100 yards in the first quarter. It was terrible to watch, just on both sides of the ball. The two youngest quarterbacks in the league, both 22 years old. Obviously Caleb Williams continuously. I mean, he threw 2 touchdowns, so he got his first touchdown passes this game.
One was
He
garbage
also
time, but yeah.
yeah, garbage time touchdowns. I mean, he threw for over 300. He threw for over 200 yards in the first half. He actually had they almost scored on a Hail Mary at the end. I would have thrown up if they would have gotten the end zone on that. They literally DJ Moore caught it at the 1 and they kept him out. I was like, dude, that would have been terrible. Same thing.
Yeah,
Anthony
that would be tough.
Richardson not taking care of the ball, 2 picks, costly, pick in the end zone, looking terrible. Same thing, he's got five interceptions through the last 2 games. So that's not what you want. I mean, one of the interceptions was on a Hail Mary last week, but still 5 interceptions through 2 weeks. Not the business, but they're running the ball. JT, another 100-yard game back to back. I like that. 2 touchdowns, like that. I saw a stat, I don't know if you guys saw it too, it came out last week, that AR has started 16 games since high school.
Wow.
Including college?
Yes, he's started 16 games since his senior year in high school. So, I mean, what do you expect from, a 22-year-old kid that, played 16 games since, he was 18 years old. So he only played
crazy. I didn't
13,
know that.
12 in, I think he played 12 in Florida because he got hurt and then didn't finish the whole season. So, and then obviously he got hurt last year too. So slow start, They got the win. Definitely need to get in the win column. Starting 0-3 is rough, but if he plays like he did in the first game against Houston, I think it'll be all right. But they have the Steelers at home next week, so we'll see.
Zach, I saw something earlier. I don't know if it's accurate. I'm curious if I meant to ask you this. Do you know through the first two games if the Colts did in fact have the worst run defense in the NFL? Because I was reading
They
something that's saying
over 450, I think, in the first 2 weeks of the games. Yeah, over like 450.
because I know the Bears were getting crucified because Caleb threw 52 times during that game, and apparently the Colts had the worst run defense in the league, and the Bears' game plan was to throw it a million times, which led to two interceptions and a fumble for a loss, which was I think it was a winnable game for probably either team. Basically glad the Colts won, but I thought that was interesting that
Yeah,
their game
yeah,
plan.
their first 2 weeks was really bad, but the whole first half they weren't really getting anything going. But they have DeAndre Swift, the Bears do, so but he couldn't get anything going. I mean, he had 13 carries, 20 yards. Was that yard and a half a carry? Like you're not going to get anything done with that. So
Justin, what's your take on it?
I didn't get to see much of the game, but anytime Caleb Williams is outside the pocket, it looks really bad. Touchdown, just before half, I believe it was. But man, he was out of the pocket. He's kind of wide open down the sideline, and he overshoots him. It's not looking good, man. It's pretty ugly. Um,
Yeah.
you know, but I
It,
mean, first 3 weeks, he's just getting his feet under
yeah,
him. So we'll see if he can improve.
I don't think any of the rookie quarterbacks have played well, actually, this far.
Bo Nix today played well, but other than that, all season, yeah, it's looked pretty bad.
That's true. So we got Philly and New Orleans. That was a frustrating game.
I was expecting that one to be like a lot more fun. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah.
It
Eagles
was like
defense isn't very
3-0 at
good, so
halftime.
yeah, to see that was pretty surprising.
Well, I think after the Saints scoring, 90 points in the first two games, people thought it'd be a
Yeah,
Yeah.
shootout, if anything,
Yeah, zero
especially at
drives with
home.
Derek Carr to begin the season without points, like in the first two games, and then it's 3-0 at halftime. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. There's another brutal pick in the end zone. He's not off to the greatest start of the year. Turmoil in Philly, or were they overreacting as always, or is he
Barkley's
I think
been
they're
good,
happy with 2-1
honestly.
right now.
yeah,
Yeah,
Saquon looks really good for being like in Philly. He's all injury prone, so I was like worried, especially being on a new team, in division team no less. But last 2 weeks he's been putting up some big numbers. He had like what 2 touchdowns last week. He had like
mm-hmm.
I think he took like a 67-yarder to the house today to put him up for the win. So he's looking pretty
Yeah, he
good.
rushed
But
for nearly like 150 yards today. I have some notes on him for later, but yeah, he's off to a phenomenal start to the season.
but if Devontae
minus the
Smith is
one.
dead, then Eagles might be in trouble.
If he is, yeah. I mean, minus the one drop touchdown catch or drop first down catch from
Oof, Monday night.
last week against
Right?
Atlanta.
Yeah,
I mean, Saquon's he's been solid for them,
that's
and
true.
not happy to see that.
Yeah, probably one of the more surprising games of the morning slate was Houston at Minnesota. I expected this game to be way closer than it panned out to be. Love and hate to see it. Sam Darnold might be back. Vikings might actually be good. I don't know if that's overreaction. Hashtag overreaction week 3, or the Vikings are actually good. I'm afraid that I feel the Vikings might actually be good.
I mean, you've seen it against Houston and San Francisco now.
Yeah, I mean
So it's
you
like,
can't miss that.
of
Top
the 3-0
NFC and
teams, I think
AFC
they're
contender.
they're the most surprising for sure with the schedule that they've had of the 3-0 teams coming out of today.
Can't stand seeing Aaron Jones in a Vikings uniform. It's just the worst. I knew it was coming for like months. Like I knew he was there, but then like when you watch him score like every week, and you're just like, this blows, dude. This is awful. It's just not a good time. But Arnold today threw for 4 touchdowns. I have some more stuff on him later too, but I think he's averaging like 3.5 touchdowns a game through 3
It's
weeks.
insane. And he
Might
wasn't even
be
supposed to
a
start,
good
right?
thing that JJ got hurt, man.
He wasn't supposed to start, right? JJ was supposed to start.
I
Well,
think he was.
I think
Yeah,
Sam Darnold was going to play the bridge quarterback. You know what I mean? But
Mm.
he signed a
it might have
1-year
been like,
deal.
oh, at some point this season, maybe throw JJ out there. But now that he's hurt, if Sam Darnold goes on an MVP run, I mean, what do they do? What do you do next year?
I don't think everyone is expecting Sam Darnold to ball out for 17 weeks, but I mean, he's on a 1-year deal. But yeah,
Nothing to
it's
lose.
if it's week 8 and we're talking about the same thing, it's like, oh shoot, like what's going to happen? It's hard to ignore. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I mean, let's
CJ
see.
Stroud looked rough from the beginning, though. First interception in last 10 games. He was like been balling on a consistent basis, and he looked lost out there. It was rough. Feel bad.
And it's one game. Like I don't think Houston's like frauds or anything. I have them as my pick in the AFC with the Chiefs. I think AFC Championship game will be Houston Chiefs, and now I'm not going to waver on that.
Chiefs at Houston.
But
I would take that.
yeah, I mean the game was in Minnesota, but like I said, I expected it to be a lot closer. But yeah, Minnesota's off to a great start. It's kind of hard to ignore that.
Next 2 games at Green Bay, home for the Jets, and then they get their bye week.
Yeah,
If Green Bay doesn't have Jordan Love, they could very easily enter week 6, 5-0, going into their bye.
actually optimistic that he's going to start next week because he was practicing this week, doing like dropbacks and stuff. For the Rams game the following week. So if he's not playing this week, I obviously hope he's back for the Rams, which I think he for sure will if he doesn't play this week. But yeah, those are 2 huge games.
That injury looked gnarly, though, man. You want to rush him back? You got a long season.
I didn't want to rush him back, but they had him at practice. Had a full compression leg sleeve and was doing dropbacks and
But if Willis
ghost
is taking
handoffs
it,
and whatever.
like, why not?
He played a lot better than he did
man.
last week.
With the
Doing
way
his
that Vikings
job.
defense, looks, I don't know. I don't know if that's the game. I don't know if that's the game you bring him back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because at worst case, you're 2-2 going into LA with the Rams team that's injured and
Malik Willis has proven to, hold it down enough
yeah,
for the time being.
And just not throw the
I'm
ball.
not
So
saying
That's just
you at least know
LaFleur's
you're not
like
going
to
to lose
not
because
throw
of
the
him.
ball.
yeah, he hasn't made any major mistakes, which is
They
good.
don't
He
let him throw
hasn't
it
tried to be a
downfield though,
hero.
which is fine.
Well, in the first half today, he had 3 passes of 30 plus yards.
No.
But in the second half, it just didn't pass too much. But yeah, he passed when he needed to. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Anything on that? You guys good on that or?
Yeah, run through
No, I
the.
mean I think we're all equally surprised.
Yeah, I'll say so.
I was surprised, not surprised, but probably the early slate game that nobody really watched. The Giants at Browns. Giants come away with their first win, 21-15. The crap.
Oh yeah, it's
Bowl.
number 1 on the
No
list.
one
We should
wants,
probably
no
talk
one
about
wants to
that.
watch that.
At the beginning of the game, it looked like, man, this is going to be classic Giants. Giants
Fumbles
fumbled the
first play,
opening
right?
kickoff, and then the next play, right? Dot from Deshaun Watson to Amari Cooper, just
Amari
straight
Cooper.
dot, and you're just like, oh man, this game's already over. And then after that, it's just nothing.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson looks like Daniel Jones.
Is there any coming back for Deshaun, or is this just how he is now?
But entering today, I would say, oh yeah, Deshaun, there's a chance. But after you look like that against the Giants, and it's like, I don't know, man. If anything, his confidence is just all the shit at this point.
In Cleveland, right? At home?
At home, yeah.
That's their second loss at home because I believe Dallas beat him in Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
So that's their second loss at home.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah, and
With the
Jones,
dog
who
pound.
clearly outplayed him, that's not a great indicator, I think.
No.
Although Daniel Jones, I mean, be it as it may, but he had what 2 touchdowns last week too. It was the first time a team had like 3 touchdowns and like lost a game or something like that to a team that didn't score a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
He is the current best NFC East quarterback. So,
That is
I
actually,
mean, for 40 million, I don't know. Maybe 40 million is worth it with
yeah.
all the $60 million quarterbacks running around. You know.
Yeah, thanks to Sean for that too, to throwing every other deal the last year and a half, including Jordan Love, 55 million a year, uh, to him. I feel like as the Browns continue to be bad, because I don't think they're going to get better. Like every week, I'll need to like ask, hey, how much more money at this point is Deshaun owed for the remaining of games
Yeah.
played? Like, what's the breakdown of how much longer do they have to put up with him
I
before
mean,
they're
well,
done with this nightmare?
Jameis time, baby. Jameis time. Eat those
yeah,
W's.
it could be. Cleveland's at Vegas next week, and with what we saw Carolina do to Vegas today, with Andy Dalton, if Deshaun doesn't show up, I think it might be
It's
time
time.
for it might be time to eat some W's. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
Because if they lose next week,
Jameis,
they're
the
what?
Jameis Winston style.
If they lose
Now
next
If they
week, they're
Jameis
lose
is gonna
what?
next
One
go.
and
week,
three.
they're 1-3. They're 1-3.
You
Jameis goes
have
his
to,
first
right? You
game,
have to make a
400 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks.
yeah, but you have to make a play to
Yeah.
save the season, right? Like you can't. Like if there's a time to make a move, it has to be. It would
Yeah,
have to
with
be. I feel like.
with what their defense is supposed to be, I feel like you make that change after next week. People were saying make that change after the Dallas game, and
Uh
so
huh.
you let it go 3 more weeks, and I think it's time. Yeah,
Dude, Deshaun Watson,
Yeah.
2 fumbles also? Come on, man.
Yeah. It's. I think what's surprising is not that he's not playing up to his contract because it's like say it's the most outrageous contract of all time. It's the fact that he's less than a shell of his former self. He's not even remotely close to being who he was, and no one can explain that. They're basically in purgatory until they get rid of him. It's one of the craziest things watching week to week and hearing people talk about because it's so bad and it's so ugly. There's no way out of it, and it's not going to get better. That I can see.
And on a side note, I don't
yeah.
like Deshaun Watson. He went to Clemson, and I don't like Clemson. So seeing him not do well is kind of exciting sometimes. But I bet my fondest memory of Deshaun Watson is that Chiefs game when the Chiefs were down like, or was it like they're down like 28 or something like that, and they came back. Something wild. That playoff game
It's a wild
6
card
years
game, I
ago.
think.
Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah,
So,
but we'll see.
Chargers Steelers. I didn't see much of that game, to be honest. So, you guys take the lead on that.
I mean, I
I
think
watched a little
Herbert's
bit.
hurt again, right?
Yes, he was hurt last week, but stayed in, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna tough it out and play." But he ended up getting hit again, and then they
I was
put
going
him
to
in
ask about that.
for
What
Heineke,
happened to him?
like a calf strain or something, if I'm not mistaken. Calf.
That or an ankle, or last week was an ankle, now it's a calf, something like that.
So it's a nagging injury. Sucks.
Yeah, yeah. Herbert out. Joey Bosa got hurt too. I mean, he's always hurt anyway, so that's not super surprising. But yeah, I mean Taylor Heineke kind of getting thrown in there out of nowhere. It's not really
Pittsburgh's 3-0, though.
Yeah, I would not call Pittsburgh being 3-0 surprising at all, though, with their schedule, and we knew their defense was going to be good coming in. The only quality opponent they played is Atlanta, right? And Atlanta was week one, Kirk Cousins' first time.
Mm-hmm.
They've held everybody 10 points or less. It's like not surprising. All you got to do, Justin Fields, is get in field goal range. You
Don't
know,
turn the ball over.
Don't turn
yeah.
it over.
I just like it because there's some Bears fans who are saying, "Oh, you let walk is 3-0 right now," and I'm thinking, if you watch the games though, Justin Fields carrying the Steelers, and I would say the answer to that is no.
I think
No.
today was his best game, though.
Yes, 100%. 100%. He had a touchdown pass, rushed for one, threw for like over 200 yards, which is good. But then I think in Chicago, he always had to use his legs. to try and run for 120, 110 yards a game, and then also throw for like 200 yards. That's what leads to the picks and the fumbles. If you have a good defense and, Najee Harris who could run the ball, you don't have to, he ran like
Yeah.
6 yards. It was just that one touchdown run that Fields had. Besides that, stayed in the pocket, was smart.
Yeah, the
We'll get
Steelers are a competent organization. The Bears are a nightmare. Caleb Williams has been
yeah.
sacked. Up to last week, he was sacked like 9 times already, or 9 or 10 times through 2 weeks. And
I don't know. I see Caleb hold on to the ball a little too long though. Is it all the O line's fault?
oh no, absolutely not. We can
Oh, no.
absolutely talk about Caleb. I mean,
Well, here's the thing, right? Pittsburgh plays Indy next week, so we're going to find out. We're going to find out. Is Justin Fields see that guy, right? Because Caleb was not that guy this week, right? So next week, Justin Fields is going to get to play them the week after Caleb, and we'll see what happens.
Caleb's trying to
I've
make
seen
a freaking Pac-12 effort dark plays, and he looks.
I was just about to say that the roll out of the pocket,
Yeah,
/ bootleg / reverse, 15-yard sack, because guys in the NFL are a little bit faster than 20-year-old kids from Stanford. I mean, it's fun. I watched it, but in the NFL, I just don't think it's a
doable.
sustainable way to play. Clearly, yeah, it's interesting. I'm looking forward to that game.
Yeah.
I put Denver. I picked that wrong. I didn't think Denver would win that game.
I did not.
Certainly not 26-7. That was a little bit surprising to me.
Dude, yeah, Mayfield sacked 7 times. He had like 2 completions in the first quarter, threw an early interception too, and then you're playing from behind at that point. So you're just trying to make anything work. But I
Yeah,
don't
he
know.
was sacked 7 times today. It's not good.
Bo looks good, man. Bo looks good.
I mean, he's like 30 years old. I hope so.
Hey, I mean, still rookie, right?
Yeah, so hey, technically still a rookie.
If you compare him to Caleb Williams, I mean, he looks like Drew Brees out there. He's
I embrace
Drew
that debate.
Brees.
I embrace that debate in the weeks to come. I'm all about the Bo versus Caleb watch. We'll have to keep tabs on that.
Yeah, I think it's looking like Bo's. Maybe he's got a better organization around him. I don't know. I think everyone thought Denver is going to be asked this year, though.
Bo knows.
So,
yeah.
He
I know, totally irrelevant. He was, Shout out transfer portal.
I watched him at
I know, totally
felt like I was like 10 years old when I watched those games.
irrelevant, but I love Denver's matte helmets.
I do
Matte
too.
navy helmets.
They look a lot better.
I don't think everyone should go matte, but Denver's looks money. Just for the record.
I don't know. I think everyone should go Matt. I think Matt has always looked better. The Vikings look better with it.
Yeah.
They do. I would argue. Atlanta looks good.
Yeah.
I don't think the Packers would look good. I just don't. Like a flat yellow. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah.
Like the Chargers, I don't see it. But yeah.
Just the lighter colors.
Yeah.
Because you could see like the Steelers going or Baltimore, right?
Yeah, Steelers would be tough, I think. See as the uniforms change over time.
I don't know. I think just Tampa asked today, and maybe that'll change next week.
Yeah, I think it was just kind of like an off game. I'm not reading too much into it. I think Tampa will be decent. I think Baker's still good. I think it's just like early loss.
They're missing 2 stars on the defense too. Vita Vea, Antoine Winfield. I mean, that's tough. 2 playmakers on the defense. Kind of put it all on Baker to try and make something happen. I think it was kind of a fluke game. 26-7. It's losing to. I mean, it's in Denver, so I mean, losing Tampa Bay. I lied.
Right.
It's Tampa Bay.
Yeah, then no real excuse. But I think if they could turn it around and put up some numbers next week, then I think they'll be. I think they'll be competitive in that division with Atlanta, with New Orleans. That's
I think so too.
These games happen all the time to good teams. You get one of these early on in the season, and you're just like, okay, we'll chalk that one up and move on.
And it's not super consequential. It's not like anyone's. I mean, the Chiefs are 3-0, the Vikings are 3-0, but other than that, there's no one who's really running away with the division through 3 weeks. So it's not too much.
No, I mean, you got Atlanta. Atlanta's 1-2. They're tied with the Saints now, 2-1. It's like they're fine.
Yeah.
Tampa
I think
plays
Tampa Bay's
Philly
a lot
next
of
week,
people's
though.
picks to win that division.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay plays Philly. Be a good challenge, I think, next week then to kind of see where they stand.
Is it in Philly?
It is at home again.
Ooh. I kind of like
Lose back-to-back home games? That'd be rough.
Philly's looks not, I don't want to say inconsistent, but like Saquon is carrying the offense right now.
Which is
I
funny
think
because
that
he's the
game,
only reason they're not 3-0, right? But
yeah, I mean, me and Zach talked about that the other night, saying, everyone's talking how Saquon dropped that, but I feel like with the timeout, you got to run the ball there. But we could,
no, yeah, for sure. Well, what were they? 3rd and 3? They should have just tush pushed twice and they would have been fine. It would have been game over.
we can talk about that all night, though.
Somebody said Jalen Hurts would be a mid or less than mid quarterback if they didn't do the tush push. I was like, damn, facts or no?
I mean, how many rushing touchdowns does he have off tush
12
push
last
alone?
week?
You know,
Of 12 maybe?
Someone will have to
Like
look that up later. I'm actually curious to know the number of that. Here's the thing with the tush push, though. Like, I get why people hate it. You can defend against it. Everyone says it should be illegal. That being said, as long as it's legal, everyone should be doing it, but not everyone does it because they can't pull it off.
Yeah,
it's basically a sneak, man. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't know.
I don't either. I don't see people's gripes with it, but it's like, if it's that easy, then why isn't everyone doing it? You know what I mean?
Side note, just I know we go on to the afternoon games, but in the spirit of tush push, Trey Sermon scored a touchdown for the Colts, but Anthony Richardson did the reverse tush push. He handed it off and then he pushed Sermon into the end zone.
Oh, I did see that. I saw that. Cool. That's right.
Yeah, they're calling it the Sunday sermon.
I like that.
In light of the Sabbath on the Lord's Day. So I thought
that's pushed him, and then all the old line was like, "Oh shoot, let's get it!" And they all freaking pushed him in. I thought they would have called it like forward progress stop, but I was like, "Damn, no, let it play."
I'm sure Sunday sermon shirts are already being printed, so you'll have to cop one next week.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, super excited to talk about the Panthers Vegas game. Talk about surprise of the week. Holy.
So Raiders were my survivor pick this week, and the whole week, I was like, this should not be my pick. This is not. Andy Dalton's going to come in and tear it up.
Did you really have a gut feeling?
And I did all week long. I felt like he's going to come in and he's just going to he's going to ball out, right? Because it's Andy Dalton, and he's not terrible, What do you have? Like 3 straight playoff appearances with the Bengals when they were total ass,
Well, your gut was correct. I mean, he only had 3 touchdowns and 300 yards by half.
Yeah. Plus, they're playing the Raiders, right? And the Raiders are, sure. They beat who did they beat last week?
Baltimore.
They beat Baltimore, right?
That's crazy.
But it was still like I didn't have the confidence, but I just was like, you know what? It's still Carolina. It's gonna be fine. Just leave the Raiders, right? You'll be fine. And
There's nothing to lose.
I was not fine.
Andy Dalton has nothing to lose. They say, "Fuck it, go throw the ball. Who cares? We're expected to lose this game. We're expected to lose the whole season. Do whatever you want."
Well, he's trying to show like, hey, I can still play in this league, man. Like I'm not washed, And he certainly played like it.
If anything, this just shows how bad Bryce Young actually has been. Maybe it's not the Panthers as much as it was him.
Maybe.
That's
plus a little bit
absolutely
of the Raiders
correct.
being the Raiders. You would add that in there too.
No, I agree with what Justin's saying though, because people were in defense of Bryce were saying, the roster's really bad. It's probably the worst roster in the NFL. It's not all on Bryce, which there may be some truth to that. But if it is the worst roster in the NFL, Allen just threw for 300 yards at half with the same roster and 3 touchdowns. He played too good to accept that narrative. It does make Bryce look bad. If he played average and they won, you could debate that back and forth or nitpick how they won or it's a fluke or whatever. But he flat out dominated and moved the offense in a way that Bryce hasn't done in a year and a half now.
With random ass scrubs on their team, too. They have Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen, who's like 500 years old.
Adam Thielen's no joke, man. But I mean, you see Vegas come in, right? And they held the reigning league MVP to less than 250 yards 1 touchdown, 1 pick last week.
Yeah.
And then Andy Dalton comes in and lights it up. So it's like, I don't know.
Good for
I don't know.
Andy. Good for Andy. I'm happy
Yeah.
for him. The Red Rocket is
For
so
sure.
bad.
He is back.
Never.
He looks like he's back. He looks like he's here to stay too. Because hey,
Yeah.
Carolina's 1-2, right? They're right in it. They're tied with Atlanta right now.
I did not think we'd be talking about Carolina being in it after the first 2 weeks of the season.
I mean, 3 weeks in, right? They're not 0-3, and everyone in the division at least has 1 loss. It's like,
It's true.
It is
you know, who
crazy.
knows? If Andy can play like that the rest of the year, the next game's what? Cincinnati,
Cincinnati.
who
at
doesn't
home.
look crazy right now. You know, anything
Any
can
given
happen.
Sunday, as they say.
Yeah.
Miami at Seattle. I don't really have much here. I didn't really care. I know Tua's out. Seattle won convincingly. Wasn't super surprised. Didn't read anything about Skylar Thompson. I don't think he did well.
He got hurt.
Oh, great.
He got smacked in the ribs pretty hard. And they put in Tim
Boyle.
Oh, Tim Boyle. Packers legend Tim Boyle. Oh, they'll be fine.
So it was Gino's pick that gave Miami their only 3 points, huh?
Yeah, because he threw a pick in his own end zone, and then he started in field goal range. That was literally it. Miami cannot move the ball without Tua.
Seattle's another unsurprising 3-0 team. I'm not surprised by it at all with the schedule that they've had. They played Denver, New England, and now Miami without Tua. So it's like they play Detroit next week, so I think we'll see them come back down to earth.
Yeah.
Or determine if they're actually real or not, you know.
I don't know.
We'll
I
find
hate
out
to
next week,
say
right?
it. I think the Lions are good.
Well, speaking of the Lions, we can touch that one. Detroit at Arizona.
Yeah, we're getting there. I don't have anything else on the mind.
Yeah.
Justin,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
even
pretty
looking
bad.
forward to this. Baltimore at Dallas. What?
It's tough.
What is going on?
Dallas's defense is ass. That's what's going on. They can't stop anything. Derrick Henry, you knew what it was going to look like, though. 151 rushing yards, 274 total for Baltimore today.
That's
3 total
insane.
rushing touchdowns.
Dang.
Yeah, it's but it was expected too. At the same time, like I expected this to be a blowout, and it was, and I still consider it that way, even though it ended 28-25. One thing is, I think this loss is entirely on Mike McCarthy. You don't go for 2 unless you have to, and you would have had the opportunity to tie the game. You would have had the opportunity to tie the game on the 3rd touchdown he scored, I believe, in the 4th quarter. If it wasn't the 4th quarter, it was the second half. Yeah, 19 points, right? In the 4th quarter. You would have had the opportunity to tie the game with a 2-point conversion. Instead, you went for 2 twice before that, and then you end up down 3 at the end of the game. And so it's like, I mean, Dallas is ass. I knew that coming in, so I'm fine with it. I hope they lose every game this season and we get a good draft pick.
Did you truly believe it would be like as big a blowout as it was? Because I didn't.
did.
I thought it'd be a close game.
No, Baltimore is known for running the ball, right? Lamar Jackson, 87 yards. Derrick Henry, 151 yards. It's like, is that surprising to anybody? No, not with the way Alvin Kamara ran last week. Like it's not surprising to me.
I didn't think it would happen in that way, back to back. I didn't. I wasn't so surprised that Baltimore won the game. I'm more surprised the way it happened. I guess I feel the opposite of you. I talked to Zach
I
about it the other night.
was
I said my gut feeling is Dallas at home. I do think it'll be close, but also
I said
it's
hard
difficult to
picture
imagine
Baltimore to go 0-3.
0-3 because that is it. Like they played
Yeah.
both their first 2 games close, and then going into Dallas, big game against what was believed to be a good team. And it's like, man, this is going to be a really close game, and Baltimore's going to come out on top, or close game and Dallas closes it out. That's honestly what I thought. I didn't think it'd be a blowout at all.
I did. I thought they would. I thought they'd control the clock, which they did. It was almost 35 minutes to 25 minutes time of possession. I knew it was just going to be okay. Baltimore's just going to run the ball all day long, and they did. And it was 182 passing yards for Baltimore. That's it. 274 rushing yards. Yeah, I saw it coming a mile away. I don't know who Dallas plays next week. They play at New York, so Hopefully they lose that game and everyone loses all their hope and expectations, and we can get on with 2025.
Dallas and Indy, both of you guys might be in competition for the worst run defense in the NFL through 3 weeks.
That's why when you said that, I was surprised because after Alvin Kamara last week, I don't know how they don't have the worst rushing defense in the NFL.
We're going into this week, right? So we'll have to keep tabs on that. Rushing yards allowed through 3 weeks. I'll look into that tomorrow, maybe. Could be.
We need a new GM. Jerry needs to hop on out of there. It's really bad.
I feel like I've been hearing
If
this.
he would have paid Dak and CD back in March, maybe Derrick Henry's on our team. But instead, you wait till the buzzer and you get nobody, and you start the season. It looks like this.
That's the thing.
Totally expected.
Touching on Dak's thing. So my dad was saying a while ago, he because of the holdout and not the holdout, but the delay and whatever. I don't think Jerry wants to sign Dak. I think he might ride this out and then next year move on. And I thought, maybe, I know Dak gets a lot of shit, but I was like, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that. But yeah, if he was going to sign him or play the waiting game, why not just sign him at the end of the season and save yourself $10 million a year? That's a lot. That's another That's another running back that you can pay $10 million a year.
Yeah, you could have paid him. I think you could have got him at probably like 52, right? Like 52 million, like right after the season ends, something like that. You could have paid CD. You probably could have got CD at 30, and that's what? That's 8 million. That's $10 million a year. Go get Derrick Henry and actually be able to run the ball. Your running back room is Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn, and Zeke.
Vaughn, the 5'1" guy out of like K-State or something.
Yeah, man, he was electric in preseason.
Hey man, this guy, he's shifty, right? He's also like 5'6", like 100 pounds soaking wet, right? So, I mean, that's not going to do it, right?
We got Darren Sproles, practice squad
right now.
Darren Sproles was short.
There's a reason there's only one Darren Sproles, though, right? So, he was, and he was nice with it. But we got Dalvin Cook on the practice squad. I think he'll probably be called up this week. We'll see what happens with that. But it's not looking good.
Yeah, keep going.
To answer the question,
I don't think Baltimore is that good either. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't really dominated.
Dallas has the most rushing yards given up at 557. Indy at 537, 20 less.
There you go.
So
I told you it was probably close. Like, no disrespect. Like, I legitimately thought it was between the two of you. It'd probably be one of you guys.
The other thing is Baltimore needed this game way more, I think, because next week they got Buffalo, and then the week after they're at Cincinnati. So they could have started. They could have been looking at 0-5 if they lose today. Honestly. And if McCarthy is a little bit fucking smarter, I think they have a decent chance of at least going to overtime for sure. So I think that they didn't luck out. Dallas is just bad. But if they had just a little bit better of a coach, this game could have gone the other way.
Baltimore does have, if not the hardest schedules in the league, right? I think we talked about this a few months ago.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It doesn't look easy. They got Cincinnati. They have Washington at home. That should be fine. They're at Tampa Bay. We don't know how that's going to look. They got Cincinnati twice. Pittsburgh defense is crazy. They got them twice. And then Cleveland's defense is also no joke, and they got them twice. So you also got Philly and the Chargers thrown in there. So it's not the hardest, but it's also no cupcake schedule.
Right.
It's a first place schedule.
Yeah, definitely. No argument there. Injury Bowl, Niners-Rams. I was not interested. Star is out, it felt like. I thought the Niners would close it out, but then I saw the Rams won, and I was like, what happened? But it's good for me. I don't really want the Niners to have a better record than they will for playoff seeding, because the Packers will lose to them, and the circle of life continues. But Juwan Jennings, I know, is playing much better than recently paid Brandon Ayuk. I know that's a storyline amongst Niner fans that are not too thrilled. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I was talking to my dad about it he came over to my house this morning, and he's obviously a huge Niners fan, so he had to rush back home because the game started at 1:30, and I was texting him throughout. And then you see, you know, Rams Niners score 21-7, like Niners like, oh, up 14, now they'll coast. Like you said, check the score, kind of it cycles through the red zone. You don't see them for a while, like, they'll handle it. No problem, whatever. Purdy already has 250 yards. Juwan Jennings already has 3 touchdowns. Like, they're gonna be fine. Then all of a sudden, it's like LA scores again. Oh, missed field goal. Like what the heck? And then freaking, I think it was like a muff punt or something or something like that, fumble or something like that got the Rams in to good field territory to score without any time left.
I
They
think
scored on their last 4 drives. That's what it was. They touchdown, field goal, I believe.
Sean McVay just owns the 49ers, though. His record again, he just finds ways to win, it seems. The record I know is extremely lopsided.
Niners next few weeks though, they got New England, Arizona, Seattle. So I think they're going to be fine. Similar to last year when they had, I think Trent Williams was hurt, Debo was hurt. They lost a few games in a row. I think they lost 3 in a row. Make it to the Super Bowl. So they're probably going to be fine. But
Yeah, I
not
mean,
happy to see them. Not upset to see them lose though, for sure.
hats off to the Rams. I mean, they did score 4 straight drives to finish the game. So, I mean, Niners blew it. It's not like
With nobody. Tutu
yeah,
Atwell and somebody like
Matt
dude,
Stafford, man.
that's
Kyron
Stafford.
Williams, Notre Dame alum, baby.
Yeah.
Kyron Williams,
Yep,
pretty good.
I got more to say about him, coming up.
Rams. Detroit versus Arizona. This was the other afternoon game I was really excited for. I was excited for the Dallas game, obviously with the implications from the Baltimore potentially going 0-3. And the Lions, who I think are very good, and Arizona, who so far has looked electric on offense. Other just looks reborn. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be awesome. So fun to watch already. Arizona could be like a dark horse, I think, this year where no one's talking about them, but their offense could just be like insane. It wasn't as the shootout as I thought it was going to be. Not super surprised Arizona won. I think I picked Detroit, but I
Detroit
thought
won
it'd be a little
2013.
closer.
No.
I thought it'd be more of a shootout, to be honest with you. But still a good game. I mean, huge win for Arizona. So
For Detroit.
Detroit won
yeah,
2013.
Detroit. Sorry.
It's funny.
Um,
We talked about it like a couple days ago on this game. Based off of Arizona, how they blew out the Rams, right? Absolutely, just murdered them. I expected Detroit to handle them like without a problem. Even at home, I wasn't. I don't think Kyler Murray's that good. Honestly, he just doesn't shock me. I keep picturing in my head that terrible playoff game against the Rams from like 4 years ago or 3 years ago when he looked stupid. Like they don't surprise me that if they finish 500, I'd be like, damn, that's good.
I remember someone saying one time that when Kyler Murray runs with the ball out of the pocket because he doesn't hold it close to his chest, he looks like a baby who stole candy and is running away. And when you watch him on like highlights, you're like, that's exactly what he looks like.
Yeah.
In not a positive or negative way. He literally looks like a baby running when he stole some candy. It's hilarious. But yeah, I'm not a huge Kyler fan. No particular reason. I don't love like this style of play. I don't think it's super sustainable. It's my same thing with Justin Fields and why I don't like him. But that's kind of irrelevant. But I do think that Arizona will be good this year. And I thought that'd be more of a shootout, like I said. But you know, it was an interesting
Yeah, I
game.
mean, Arizona, if you remember, Arizona was kind of last year's Carolina. They were
Yeah,
expected to be the worst team in the league, and then they come out and it seemed like they were in every game. None of the games were like blowouts. They were really competitive, even with good teams. And then this year they had Marvin Harrison Jr. and it's like, okay, they could probably manage to win a
A
good
few.
half of those games that they lost last year. And probably be on the verge of the seventh seed or something like that.
I think that's their ceiling. I think
For
probably,
this year, at least, I think so.
yeah.
Yeah.
well, in the NFC, no one's really looked amazing yet. I mean, you could say Minnesota, but I still think even after today, people are thinking, what if with Minnesota? Is Sam Darnold going to be this way for the rest of the season? Or they're just hot right now? Could be both, but I still think no one's like for sure thinking Minnesota's going to be the
I think
absolute
now,
real deal.
especially with only 3 preseason games and most starters not playing in any of them, you won't find out who a team truly is until a few weeks into the season instead of maybe 2 or 3. Maybe it's 5 weeks into the season,
Four or
something like
five.
that.
Yeah,
So maybe Minnesota's 3-0 now, and in a few weeks they're I don't
Three
know
and 2.
4-2. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Something like that. We'll see what happens.
Sunday Night Football. That's dog shit fourth and inches play call to end the game. Who said that?
dude, I don't understand why.
I
What I don't understand.
sneak the
What's wrong with
ball.
that? I don't understand. They try to do something just dumb. Ooh, they're not going to be expecting this. Just fucking run the play that they're going to expect. You just outgrown man someone for 3 inches. Move the ball forward. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Run the damn
You run
ball.
an outside hand. What was it, a toss or an outside handoff? But
Dude,
before that play was even over, I turned my phone off because I already knew where it was going.
I was like,
I think
dude, like,
everyone was rooting for Atlanta there, and put my phone through a window as soon as I saw them hand the ball off that way.
it was bad. I don't
Outside of
understand.
being Atlanta in the NFC, like technically for potential seeding, I want the Chiefs to win, but I don't really want the Chiefs to win. So it was frustrating. Same thing as on the game off and part of the fourth, I was frustrated and I said, same thing. I've seen this once or twice. I know how this is going to end.
Chiefs have been on the verge of losing every single game this year.
Yep.
They really have, haven't they?
They have not controlled a game completely at all.
Well, that's kind of how they were last year, right? They lost like 6 games. They were a very beatable team,
Yeah, they had to play on the road in the playoffs. I know that. So
and
they weren't
I
like
mean,
the
but when it
greatest.
mattered, obviously they won every game.
Dude.
So it's
Yep.
it's
They
like it
got
doesn't really
a.
matter.
It's looking like they could very easily go into their bye week 6. Perfect. They got the Chargers next week. Who's going to be playing who? Who's going to be playing quarterback next week?
Dude, yeah.
And then they got New Orleans at home. And if they look anything like they look today, I think that's going to be an easy win. So I don't know. Sucks. I think we're going to see a lot more Taylor Swift.
I'm tired. Over it.
It's okay when Travis
Over it.
Kelsey
And I
retires.
heard Scott Hansen today made a Taylor Swift reference in a completely unrelated game
Oh, he did.
during NFL Red Zone in the morning games, and I'm just like,
Yeah. He's
God,
like, oh,
dude.
I don't know who it was, but it's like Joss heard it too. My wife, Jocelyn, she was
Yeah.
like, what did he just say? Because she doesn't like Taylor Swift either. She doesn't like the Chiefs. And he's like, oh, he's going to have to boot Taylor Swift and shake it off. I was like, shut up, Scott
Yes, that's what he said. That's right. That's right. He said that in one of the morning games,
Yeah.
and Kansas City isn't even playing till the night game. It's like
I was like, damn it.
It's like
he's
Scott
that much
Hansen,
on
like
their mind.
your last hero, right? In NFL media, and you're like the last guy
Yeah.
you want to hear talk about it, and you're just like you just ruined the rest of my day, dude. Like you're the one guy I
It
rely
definitely
on
s- it definitely sounded like there was somebody in his ear saying, "Hey, now's your chance. Make this reference."
because he's a hero. Every 7 hours of commercial free football, baby. It's Scott Hansen's the goat.
Yeah.
It's zone. It's like the saving grace for millions of people. He's not gonna say anything controversial to get people to turn it off. Like
No, dude is dedicated too. He does a whole fast
No
before.
bathroom breaks.
Yeah, so there's no bathroom breaks or anything. So he doesn't drink water. He doesn't eat food for like X amount of hours before the games
He
start.
said he drinks like one Diet Coke in the morning or something weird and like a
Yeah,
granola bar or
he's
something
guy's
like,
a
yeah,
crazy.
legend.
I'm not a coffee guy. I take my DC and I get all of it. It's like my old man. Never drank coffee, working the nights, but he pounded 1,000 DCs a day. Good for
But
your liver, but
yeah, that Chiefs one. Chiefs do look beatable though. I mean, in every game they look beatable, like kind of like you said last year. But they're gonna make the playoff. I mean, bottom line, they're gonna get in the playoffs. You just hope they have to work for it, like and play an away game or something. I don't know. That's all you could hope for, right?
I mean, it's one of those things. I think after last year, like when they played Baltimore, I thought at the time, I thought Baltimore objectively was the better team. And I thought they'd win, not because
The
I
crazy
wanted the
thing
Chiefs to
is,
lose, but if you know they went on the road, Baltimore couldn't do it, and it's like,
They went into Buffalo too, beat Buffalo.
yeah, went into Buffalo when it was freezing, blizzard conditions. Baltimore couldn't get it done. Those are two
Terrible
teams
play
where you're
calling
like,
in that game, by the way, by Sean McDermott. I will say that was terrible play calling at the end, but that's
it
Well,
was,
it's the same
but
for Baltimore. It's the same. It's the same for Baltimore. They didn't not run the ball at all in that game, and that's what they do. They run the ball. So I think it was totally on them. I think it was less good Chiefs and more just terrible play calling by Baltimore that game.
and those are two teams that are obviously contending in the AFC. Where you're thinking, if there's a moment to do this, it's this game, and neither of them could do it. And the Chiefs went on the road for the first time in the Pat Mahomes era, won, won the Super Bowl. So if they lose 5 or 6 games this year, who cares? You know, they're not thinking about we have to go on the road. It's I'm the Chiefs. I'm not as long as you're making the playoffs. I'm not worried about anything. What I'm interested in
Yeah,
is what team in the AFC is going to look consistent enough to where we think there's a chance to actually beat them in the playoffs.
crazy thing is that Buffalo. Everyone coming into the season thinks Buffalo is they're done. Their window is closed, right? All the players that they lost, and again, it's only first 2 weeks of the season, but they look like the only one after Houston today, at least.
Yeah,
Look like the only one who's got a chance.
yeah, it's
I don't
true.
know. Maybe the Jets. Maybe the Jets. We haven't talked about them.
It would be cool. I
But
think you saw vintage pieces of vintage Aaron Rodgers, I'd say, with the quick release and be not as mobile as he used to, but you saw him finding the open guy, the quick release. Threw a couple darts. The Garrett Wilson touchdown was absolutely insane on the goal line. Good hands by
yeah,
Wilson and great footwork to get it in. That was they could be spooky down the road, I think.
the Pats defense is no joke. Even though everyone wants to shit on the Pats, they're about on the level of Carolina, right? But 281 yards, 27 completions, 2 touchdowns. That's nothing to sneeze at. Not against that defense, right?
Right. I think after the week one, everyone was overreacting and all the Jets hype, and everyone thought, oh, just wash or the Jets are overhyped or blah, blah, blah. And I thought, give them a few weeks. I think the Jets will be good. I don't know if they'll be as good as the hype of last year coming in and the defense and what have you. And I think for the most part, it's the same team. But I do think the Jets will contend. I think if the Jets are in a good position at the end of the year, and you put Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, that guy's been there, done that. He's not going to fear playing at Arrowhead. Doesn't mean he'll do
The
it, but
Jets, yeah, the Jets schedule is very. A lot of games are very winnable. Their schedule does not look tough. I mean, right now, coming into the season, Minnesota, uh, you thought that was going to be a bottom team in the NFC. They look better now, but they're at Minnesota in a couple weeks. But yeah, they have New England, they have Arizona, they got Indy, they got Miami. Those two are gonna ever play again. They got Jacksonville. Their schedule is not that tough. I think they get into the playoffs easy, easy. Winning the division, I don't know about that,
yeah, depends on how Baltimore
but
does. Or sorry,
yeah, next
how the
next
Bills
two
do.
home next two home for Denver at Minnesota. We'll see what happens. Oh wait, at Minnesota is not actually at Minnesota. I don't think that is in London. They got one of their road games with Minnesota not
Oh,
at home.
London neutral site.
I want to talk some top guys of the week. Who balled out this week? Justin.
Yeah, what you got?
I had Malik Neighbors today. 8 receptions, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's the youngest receiver in NFL history to have 2 touchdowns in a game.
He's
So
21. He's
uh,
barely 21. Well, 21 in the
21,
GS.
just turned 21 2 months ago. 21 2 months
I
ago.
him coming out of Ole Miss, right? He was like the one that he like talked a lot, like at the draft and like around the draft and stuff. And I was like, oh, dude, he's gonna go out and suck Matt ass because he just runs his mouth. But he's been freaking putting up some big boy numbers.
With Daniel Jones, man.
Yeah,
Imagine,
I
if he's
was
got.
waiting how long until someone brings up with Daniel Jones. Took
I mean,
about
it's
three
true, right?
seconds.
Like, imagine if Malik Neighbors has, Pat thrown to him or something.
Yeah.
Number two for me though, Kyron Williams. 89 yards, 2 rush touchdowns, 2 targets, 2 catches, and a receiving touchdown too. So every single Rams touchdown, Kyron Williams accounted for.
He
So
did a
he's number
front
2
flip
for me
into the end
today.
zone to score one.
Yeah,
You saw it. It was pretty cool.
looks good.
Yeah. I got to give it to my guy, Malik Willis.
Of course
Obviously,
you do.
got the W. Willis. After the morning slate, I just dubbed him my guy of the day. I said, he's got to get it. He played better than he did last week. He had 200 yards passing, not a ton, but he had 73 yards rushing with a touchdown, 70% of his passes. Did everything he was supposed to do, got the win. Obviously, stoked with him. And then, again, I love and hate to do this, but Sam Darnold played awesome today. He had 4 touchdowns versus the Texans. I have to worry about him now week to week. It's awesome for me. I'm on the Vikings, so that's not fun. But yeah, he just played awesome. Like I said earlier, he's averaging like 3.5 touchdowns a game right now. Just went out, man. Minnesota's hot. Can't it is what it is. So I thought he played excellent today. Yeah, that's what I got.
My two, I got Juwan Jennings, my boy Justin Fields, the GOAT. Juwan Jennings went off with obviously no Debo, no Kittle. And Ayuk just got paid, so he's like the number 4 or 5 on that depth. Or CMC, CMC's out too, so he's like number 5 target on that squad. But put in the starting spot today and showed out. Dude, 11 catches, 175 yards, 3 tutties. He's one of like 4 players in like franchise history with over 150 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game. They put it next to Randy Moss's like Thanksgiving Day. He had like 3 catches, like 160 yards, 3 touchdowns or something.
Yeah.
Like Randy Moss. Yeah, he went off. And he's number 15, which is pretty cool. So he looked pretty good.
Shout out to Debo.
Yeah. So he looked good. He's always been that piece though. Like if you ever watch any of the Niners games, if Ayuk's covered Juwan Jennings had that sick ass catch in the Super Bowl to kind of like keep the drive going. He's good. He's a good number 3. I feel like he could be a number 1 or definitely number 2 on any other given team. So
Juwan Jennings was the Super Bowl MVP until Kansas City won. He definitely was.
it's facts. So yeah, he looked good. Hopefully, kind of keep that up. Who knows if Debo will be back? Who knows if Kittle will be back? Who knows if Ayuk's actually can ever play well and do something? Who knows? So, and then my second top performer, Justin Fields, kept care of the ball for the most part. He had 245 yards, like 250 total, like including some rush yards that he had, and then 2 total touchdowns, and it's leading Steelers 3, to a 3-0 start. Can't complain. Definitely not the traditional 176 passing yards, 100 rushing yards, 3 picks, 1 touchdown that we're used to seeing stat line on the Bears for Fields. So it was good to see him.
In his defense, after the fact, bad as I thought he was, I'd say the Bears were equally as bad. I'll give Justin his flowers for this week, but don't expect it to be every week.
Hey man, we'll see how he does. Well, now next week playing Indy, I want him to suck ass, but
he's 3-0. He's 3-0. Russ is done. I mean, the Steelers are paying pennies for Russ. They might just say, "Kick rocks, dude."
Yeah.
There's no snowball chance in hell you can put Russ back out there right now. Not at 3-0.
Not a 3-0.
No, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter if he's healthy.
What if, let's say, they lose to Indy, like fingers crossed, but Fields goes no picks, maybe 1 pick, 250 yards, and like 2 touchdowns, but they lose like 20-17. Do you put Russ in? No.
Not if it's that
No, you
close.
can't. You can't. I think after today, it should be pretty solidified. Unless he goes out and Russ is actually still not healthy next week, and then he goes out, he throws 2 picks, and he costs him the game. Like, I don't think there's any way you take him out.
And Mike Tomlin likes Justin Fields. Like he purposely traded for him. He's talked highly of him publicly before the trade. So, that's quietly his guy, whether it's this year or the next couple of years. So getting Russ was a genius move by Pittsburgh. Denver's paying everything, basically. He's basically free. He's like literally $1 million, which in NFL money is free. An insurance policy, a veteran quarterback. Pittsburgh absolutely did the right thing. You traded for a young guy you might be able to fix. You get a veteran to start the season, which obviously is hurt. hats off to Pittsburgh. It's just two sound moves, And you're 3-0, and there's no press. There's no reason to do anything different next week.
Here's the Steelers schedule, right? Next, let's call it 5 weeks. We'll call it 6 weeks. At Indy, home for Dallas. At Vegas, home for the Jets. Home for the Giants. At Washington.
Yeah,
They could
Jets is like
very
the only
easily,
one is that I can see would be a struggle.
very easily win 5 of their next 6
Damn.
and be
Can you imagine an
8-1?
8-1 Steelers?
That sounds like too good to be true, but
Very easily with the way Dallas looks right now. Indy's not great. Vegas obviously isn't great. They have the Giants at home and they're at Washington. Super, super easy for them to be 8-1.
as long as the defense keeps up, yeah. I guess it's not that
If not
far
9-0. They could beat the Jets.
Is that game in Pittsburgh?
Games in Pittsburgh.
That sounds like a
They
Sunday
could
night football.
easily, and then they go and then they have Baltimore at home after that. They could definitely be 9-0, 8-1, easy 7-2.
God, I can't even
Playing
process
Baltimore at
that.
home,
Justin
beginning
Fields
their
led
division
Steelers
games.
9-1 or something. It's like, what the fuck?
And now it's like super plausible with the way their defense is.
And that
Their
Steelers Jets
defense isn't
game
giving
is
up more
Sunday
than 10
night
points.
football.
I actually hope that
It
happens.
is.
One, because it doesn't affect me in any way. And two, it puts immeasurable pressure on the Bears if Caleb doesn't drastically. And again, it's not fair to him, but if Justin Fields is 8-0, 7-1, 8-1, something crazy like that, and the Bears are awful, which there's already like chipping and micro turmoil on the sidelines and microaggressions, and you're just waiting for it. I mean, it's not all Caleb, but the Bears are the Bears, so it's only a matter of time before it all just unravels. So, you know what? I'm all in on the Justin Fields Steelers. You know what? Hear me now on this night. I'm all in on the Justin Fields Steelers. I'm a believer.
As a Cowboys fan, I fucking hate it, but I don't see how they're not at least 7-2 after the Washington game. After week 10.
7-2. That's what we're calling. We'll have to come back and remember that.
Well, let's say they lose to the Jets and either the Cowboys or the Colts. I think they beat Vegas. I think they beat the Giants, and I think they beat Washington.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'll say the only two off that list that at least seem obvious are the Cowboys and the Jets.
Yep.
As of now, but again, who knows how they're playing in 4 weeks. Who's been hot this far through 3 weeks? We like guys just been super consistent. It's Sam Darnold again, just because he's average. Like I said, he's averaging over 3.5 touchdowns. Vikings are 3-0. Hard to ignore. He's had 8 touchdowns so far.
Damn.
Just say early MVP candidate. Sounds crazy, but with quarterback play being relatively average the first 3 weeks, he's the standout guy in the NFC who has just played really well. And then my second guy, I took him early. I made sure to put him in before anybody else got him, was Saquon, obviously. 2 touchdowns today, 147 yards. He's averaging 113 yards per game.
And one dropped first down pass.
And one, oh my. To win the game, though, I guess you could pin that on him if you really want to, but he's averaging 113 yards per game, which is pretty good, I think. I would take that 8 days a week. Yeah, gotta get Saquon. Go Birds, baby.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Just kidding. Fly, Eagles, fly.
For mine, first game we didn't do so well. Against Houston, it was more of a passing shootout, but JT, Jonathan Taylor, the last 2 games, rushed over 100 yards. He's averaging nearly 6 yards a carry in the last 2 games, too. In my head, I'm always like, well, if you just run it twice, you get a first down every single play, and you don't even see what third down looks like.
They should just do that. Why don't they do that?
People don't do that. They just have to switch up the play calls. But, I think it helps AR to not put as much pressure. So if he could keep that up, maybe not 100 yards a game is a tough pace, but 80, 90 plus would take a lot of pressure off of Richardson to not have to throw it 40 times or something like that. So offensive line looks good though. Trey Sermon got that touchdown, and then JT had 2 today also. So if we can kind of keep that up and average 5 yards a carry, definitely could do some damage to some defenses. So, and then my other guy, I don't like because he went to Michigan, but got to give him his flowers. Aiden Hutchinson, 16 tackles, 6.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble through the first 3 weeks of the season. If you compare that to the likes of TJ Watt, who only has 3 sacks and 10 tackles, pretty good. So,
Only.
yeah, he looked good. Obviously he had like 4 sacks in one of the games, and then he had I think 2 today as well, and then a forced fumble. But Lions looking good. Defense is pretty strong. I mean, they held a fiery Arizona team, and Kyler Murray, who likes to run, like you said earlier. Aiden Hutchinson kind of kept that in check. So I think he's been pretty good first 3 weeks.
Agreed.
All right, for me, man, this guy should be NFC Player of the Month. Brandon Aubrey is fucking ridiculous, right? He's 10 for 10 all year, 5 for 5 on extra points. His long is 65. Okay, that came today, but really, in week 1, he kicked a 66-yard field goal that they wiped
He got
off.
called back.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's really 11 for 11 with a 65 and a 66-yard field goal. He's also got a 57-yard field goal. Today he's 2 for 2, 1 from 65, 1 from 51. He's got 5 total over 50-yard field goals.
Damn.
Right? Dude is just fucking lightening up.
65 is Tucker's record, right? 65?
66 is Tucker's record. So he would have tied Tucker's record week 1 if they left that on the board, but they didn't. So now he holds the second longest kick in NFL history. I have no doubt that they will let him kick from 70 yards at some point this season, and he'll make it. So,
especially at home in a closed environment,
yeah,
every time.
That guy is just ridiculous. I believe, don't quote me on this, but he is definitely up there with the top scorers in the whole NFL this year, at least top 3.
I believe that.
So he's my number 1, hands down. Number 2 is Rashee Rice, even though I fucking hate it. I don't root for the Chiefs at all. I used to, but now they're just annoying as hell. But the guy had 12 catches today. That's pretty insane. 12 catches on 14 targets, 110 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, he did really well today. Overall, whole season, he's got, over 3 games, he's got 24 catches, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think, he's past number 1 target right now. So he's been playing really well.
Yeah, definitely. I think we talked about a lot of the major of the notes. I think we talked about all the other stuff that we had. Do we want to talk about Monday Night Football? Just quick predictions. Doubleheader for the people.
I do like that. I like the doubleheader. It's always fun.
I don't like that they're a half hour apart, though. You got to flip back and forth,
Yeah, go back and forth.
There's no other way really to do it, though. We're going to have a game at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
On a Monday.
I'll be down.
Watch it during work. Yeah, I'll be fine with that.
Should go back to those COVID times and start having games on Tuesdays too, right?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, Tuesdays, Wednesdays games.
That's true. Oh, that was crazy.
Bills take. I think the Bills and the Bengals take those games though, and I don't think it's particularly close.
Yeah, I don't think the. I'm not big on Jacksonville. They're kind of just lingering. I'm waiting for Trevor Lawrence to put together more than 1 or 2 games at a time of brilliance, and it just hasn't really happened. And Buffalo wins easily. Washington, Cincy, I want to say that it'd be closer, but I don't feel that it will be, especially because Cincy has to win. Cincy always starts slow. It's at home. They're probably going to come out guns blazing. I think it'll be that close. I just don't.
I don't know if the Bengals cover 7.5. It's kind of big for me, but I think they take it by at least 5, barring some crazy ass Jaden Daniels stuff. Which I mean, he looks good. He looks good too, as far as rookie quarterbacks are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not as much passing as running, but I think Cincy takes that one handily.
Yeah, I agree. I think both home teams will take it for sure. Jacksonville's not looked I mean, that first game against Miami, they were in control, and then Miami like came back or whatever, because Tua threw for like 360 yards or something crazy. But besides that, like Jollar said, Trevor Lawrence kind of hit or miss, and 8 out of 10 times he's always miss. He can't really kind of sustain a decent or above average play for like a long period of time. And then Washington, Cincy, I think Cincy could take it. I do think 7.5 is a lot, especially how like since he's looked the last 2 weeks. And I would like my boy Jaden Daniels, Inland Empire shout out. I'd like Jaden Daniels to do good, come out and be decent, just take care of the ball and keep it close. If it would be like that, like I mean they got blown out by Tampa Bay, but even then you don't go to that game and say Jaden Daniels played like shit. You're like, dude, no.
No.
They just couldn't stop Tampa Bay. They couldn't stop Baker.
Yeah.
But Jaden looked good and he looked clean last week too when they had 6 field goals, took care of the ball, didn't do anything stupid, rookie mistakes, and that's all you could hope for. Hope they just get better, but I agree with Jollar. Since he cannot afford to lose this game, they can't. It's like the Ravens, same thing. The only difference is Ravens were playing away against a should have been good Dallas team, and then Cincy gets an easier one of Washington at home. I think they both come out low, and then Cincy comes out winning.
Yeah, I agree.
What's crazy is Trevor Lawrence was the second coming of Andrew Luck coming out of college, right? And everyone gives him the excuse of Urban Meyer, and I agree with that to an extent. At some point, right?
Forgot about that.
At some point, he's got to, yeah, and I give him that. His first season, man, should probably be a wash. You see
asterisks.
The comparison of the blind quarterbacks, right? And they'll throw Trevor Lawrence up there and like Daniel Jones up there. Well, like I think all his stats season one are kind of a wash. But at some point you got to turn the corner, and I think he's far enough out of it. They got Doug Peterson there for multiple years now. I think that if there's ever a time, like now's the time to start turning it on. You got Christian Kirk too. You got who else they got?
Etienne, he's been doing okay.
CTN, yeah. I mean, their offense isn't like it's not like he's got nobody. You know what I mean? So
I think
I'd like to see him come out and do some work.
It appears that Trevor Lawrence gets much more of a pass than someone like Tua, and he's quietly, like you said, kind of gone under the radar. If he doesn't have a year this year, if they don't make a playoff berth, it's hard to ask yourself, like, okay,
yeah, that's what Justin's saying. He's not young enough to give him another year. He's just still getting his his feet under himself. Like he's got to figure it out like now. Otherwise, like they got to figure something else out then. Like
and no offense, like he's not in a good division. No,
it's winnable for everyone.
Oh.
Yeah, in theory, it should be at least competing for every year.
Bro, if Blake Bortles can take this team to the AFC Championship against Tom Brady freaking 10 years ago, Trevor Lawrence can win this division.
They should have won that game. I don't want to talk about
that. They definitely.
Justin and I watched that live in the mountains, if I remember correctly.
We were snowboarding.
Yes.
Yep. And they definitely should have won that game.
Yeah. So, all right, boys. I think that's all I got for tonight. Are we getting? Almost made
How about maybe last thing? Bryce Young ever play again?
Oh yeah, with the Panthers or
let's say for the Panthers. Maybe he gets you think he gets traded? Does Bryce Young get traded this year?
Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah. I think he gets traded this year. I think because Andy, if he's halfway above average the next couple weeks,
why would you even put him back in?
What does prolonging trading him gain you? That's the question. It's not do we think he should be traded. It's if you hold on to him and throw him back next year, nothing happens. Then who's going to trade?
Good spot? Any good spot? Miami.
Bro,
go there. He's very similar to Tua.
Skylar Thompson. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Throw Bryce Young, and because the whole thing, like, I don't know the coach's name for Carolina. I know he's new, but he said like, "Oh, Bryce is our guy," and literally the next day he benches him. Like, you're just gonna kill his confidence anyways, and then you're gonna put in the red-haired goat who's gonna go off, and like, why would you ever put him back in? You would look so dumb as an organization, as a coach. Like, just trade him, wash Bryce Young, wipes it clean, start somewhere else.
Yeah, it's a good point. It kind of speaks to how they really feel. So it's just, I mean, he's made $25 million so far. I don't feel that bad for him, but as far as, yeah, rip the band aid off, trade him, somebody will take him. It's not like there's no reason to not take him, but if someone needs someone, it's worth taking a shot on. But for the Panthers, I don't know if it's a hot take or not, but yeah, I would agree. I don't think he plays unless there's an injury or something. But
Like the college quarterback's coming out next year, I have no idea who it is. So if all you got is Andy Dalton right now, who is it next year? Say Andy Dalton doesn't play well. Say like this game was, because Vegas didn't have a lot of film on him from, the last couple of years or so.
Shedeur, baby.
Maybe Shadur, but I don't think he's
Quinn
a,
Ewers.
Quinn Ewers, yeah.
That's true. That's true. So there are some guys that they could go with. Give him the old Josh Rosen treatment,
Dude, that
Probably.
fool's not even in the league.
There's 8
Exactly.
mistakes ahead of me.
Before we
I forgot.
Before we go, I don't think we'll have a chance to get on before the Thursday game next week, right? It'll be after the
I'd like to
Thursday
do
game.
maybe Thursday night.
So after the Thursday game. So any thoughts
Possibly.
on Thursday's game? It's Cowboys Giants in New York.
In New York, if the Cowboys lose that game, fire everyone, trade everyone, to the moon. Just call
Malik
it a day.
Neighbors putting up 120 yards.
Probably. I want to remember that Malik Neighbors 120 yards. Then if that happens, I will do something.
Daniel Jones running amok, like that could definitely happen. Running all over the place.
Just throws.
I don't
He's got
like
some
Daniel
legs, man.
Jones and definitely in the same sentence. It just doesn't. I'm not confident for him to do just about anything.
He's got some legs, man.
He looks like a nerd.
I think Cowboys got to win that game. I just don't. I can't even
Probably,
entertain
yeah.
the idea of the Giants winning. I just can't.
Do they cover 4.5?
I think Giants are winning.
What about you, Zach? Giants winning. Wow, money line outright, huh?
I don't think so. I don't think he believes that in the depths of his soul.
Yeah.
I'll pick him. Survivor. Tell me I won't.
Put it on the internet, so you got to do it. So all of our listeners are going to be following up next week, Zach. So
if none of us pick Cowboys or Giants Survivor next week, we can talk about that.
I already have people lined up to listen to this, Zach, so they're going to hold you to it. So
good.
My coworkers who are listening in the morning. So all right, yeah, that's all I got, fellas. Until next time, I guess. Hopefully we do this again.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, bye. Love you guys.
All right. Bye.
See you.